Casey Anthony is the actual tormented victim of a real American witch hunt. That means that all the people in this country just ignore the fact that she's absolutely been not only proven innocent, she is innocent. She is the last thing on imaginable would be for Casey Anthony to murder this darling child that she loved. I mean, that's bizarre and absolutely incredible, false nonsense. And the people who knew that, the officials who absolutely knew that, who spent more than 20 hours testing her and speaking to her directly and listening to her, absolutely believe that she told them the truth. Okay? Now, the fact that nobody has interviewed them, the media just ignores these two doctors, and they don't come forward, and they could absolutely confirm either they absolutely believe she told the truth, or she just lied about everything. And I know that they don't think that she lied about anything, that they believed her. And they sat on the fence, and they're still on the fence. And they need to be off the fence. They need to confirm. The trial's over. Okay? It doesn't matter what they confirm as to any kind of a thing except for some potential appeal. So it's absolutely critical now that these two doctors are interviewed by somebody, because the entire media is out to torment Casey Anthony, and they control the minds of the American people completely. They're in a total propagandized trance, so it doesn't matter. They can't think. They are told what to think by the media, and the media has decided they're not going to expose themselves for what they absolutely did before the trial, during the trial, and after the trial, where they can't come to grips and say, you know, we made a mistake and we tried to get this woman executed. We're not about to tell you that, okay? That's not going to happen, because then they would convict themselves in a civil case that she could actually and should bring. But she's in her own world, her own still delusional world of denial, sitting in a room and just ignoring what happened in truth. I mean, her father, she knows her father murdered this kid. She noticed that the father's arms were wet. In other words, the father didn't dive in and take the kid out of the bottom of the pool because she wasn't in any. She was taken to the pool in his arms and dunked in to get her soaking wet, and then brought into the house and shown to Casey, so that Casey would freak out, which she did, and just act in total submission to George, which she's been doing since he started molesting her. Okay? And it doesn't end. And she doesn't know. She says it. She told the shrinks. She doesn't know why I don't hate him, she said. That's what the shrink said. Do they think this is a lie? Do the shrinks actually think this is a lie? Of course they don't. But why isn't they don't come forward? And yet she's tormented, and she's innocent, and she's been through the mill, and she's been just absolutely dragged into a horrific disaster where she has to hide in fear that somebody's going to kill her or hurt her. Okay? And yet it just keeps going. The witch hunt never ends in America. Americans are too goddamn arrogant to ever admit they're wrong about anything. And they can't think straight at all. Absolutely crazy nitwits that believe all kinds of total nonsense, having absolutely nothing to do with Casey or this case. Okay? Like, for instance, they actually all believe that nuclear power doesn't emit CO2. How stupid. Because how do you get nuclear power? From uranium. How do you get uranium? They mine it. How do you mine it? You use powerful mining tools that create tons of CO2, that burn diesel fuel. Okay? You don't get rods. You don't get nuclear power rods unless you get the uranium. You don't get the uranium without producing the CO2 by massive amounts. But yet nobody questions it. And yet they just keep getting subsidies. And everybody just goes along. They build monster tons and tons of these radioactive rods that they don't know where to put. And it doesn't matter, they just keep doing it. Even though they have hydrogen fuel cells, they could just, okay, let's just completely eliminate nuclear power. We were wrong about that. Oh, we're not wrong about anything in America. Right? Once we commit, we can't even say, Americans can't even utter an apology for slavery and for wiping out, genocide American Indians after we stole everything that they had and murdered them. Okay? Just stick them on the reservation, because they're never going to get an apology. You understand? That's what Americans are all about. We're always right. We know it all. You know? And we start wars like Iraq and Afghanistan with a complete 9/11 inside job by George Bush. And nobody wants to hear about it. Nobody wants to know the facts. They don't want to know that, wait a minute, how did these steel beams get exploded all over the place? Why didn't they just drop straight down? They didn't repeal the law of gravity. That's how ignorant Americans are. And they just don't want to know that they're just freaking ignorant screwballs. So they just don't want to admit, wow, we were wrong about Casey Anthony, and we're sorry that she has been tormented all this time. And now we can admit we made a big freaking mistake, and she's free to walk around like a normal person. Nah, not here. The witch hunt just doesn't end. You understand? This is what America's all about. Okay? All this crap. All this hypocrisy. You understand? And I'm trying to get this point across. Because it's not going to do anything to Americans except bad things. It's not going to get people employed. It's not going to straighten out the tax code. It's not going to do anything good. It's only going to continue our stupidity, our freaking arrogance, our ignorance, our hypocrisy, the lies about everything, especially about 9/11. So why don't we just start with Casey Anthony? Why don't we just realize that Bias lied, absolutely flat out lied when he said it was an accident. He knew it wasn't an accident. And then he wrote his goddamn book to make his few $1,000,000. Okay? Knowing damn well, oh, I tricked them. I told them it was an accident. They couldn't prove it. They couldn't prove it was a freaking murder. How come? They got the body hidden in the woods. What does that prove? Nothing. That proves it was a murder. Idiots. American nitwit idiots. When are they gonna wake up, huh? That's what I want to know. Never? You're too freaking arrogant to admit the mistake? Yep. That's it. So, we'll see. Maybe the blog will confront it.